First contact and rising tensions. The stars had always called to humanity, a siren song of mystery and possibility. But on that fateful day in 2157, when the massive alien ship appeared in orbit around Mars, the universe answered back with a thunderous roar. Dr. Ilara Chen, lead xenolinguist at the United Earth Space Agency, stood before the holographic display in mission control, her heart pounding. The alien vessel dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed, its sleek, obsidian surface seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Are we receiving any transmissions?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Captain Marcus Reeves, the grizzled veteran in charge of Earth's first contact protocols, shook his head. "Nothing yet, but they haven't made any aggressive moves either. We're in uncharted territory here, folks." As if in response to his words, a beam of crimson light shot from the alien ship, engulfing the small research outpost on Mars. Panic erupted in mission control, but as quickly as it began, the light vanished. The outpost remained intact. "What the hell was that?" Reeves demanded. Dr. Chen's eyes widened as she studied the incoming data. "It wasn't an attack, Captain. It was a scan. And now we're receiving a transmission. It's an invitation." Within hours, a small team led by Dr. Chen and Captain Reeves was en route to Mars aboard Earth's fastest interplanetary shuttle. As they approached the red planet, the alien ship loomed ever larger, a city-sized monolith that defied human understanding. A shimmering portal appeared on the ship's surface, beckoning them inside. With a mix of trepidation and exhilaration, they entered, finding themselves in a vast, organic-looking chamber. And there, waiting for them, were the Arxer. Towering beings of crystalline structure, the Arxer moved with liquid grace. Their bodies pulsed with internal light, and when they spoke, it was directly into the minds of the human delegation. "Welcome, children of Earth," the lead Arxer projected. "We are the Arxer, shepherds of the galaxy. We have come to guide you into the greater community of spacefaring races." Dr. Chen stepped forward, her years of training kicking in despite her awe. "We are honored by your greeting and your offer. Humanity has long dreamed of this moment. We have so many questions." The Arxer's light pulsed, a gesture that Dr. Chen would later learn indicated amusement. "In time, young one. But first, we must address the matter of your species' place in the galactic order. You see, Earth resides in a sector long ago claimed by the HFY consortium. Your very existence is problematic." Captain Reeves tensed, his hand instinctively moving towards the sidearm he'd been forbidden to bring. "Problematic? In what way?" The Arxer's next words sent a chill through the human delegation. The HFY believed that emerging species should be managed, guided firmly towards roles that benefit the greater galactic community. They would see humanity as a resource to be utilized, not as equals. Dr. Chen's mind raced. "And you, the Arxer, what is your stance on this?" "We believe in allowing species to develop naturally, to find their own path. But we are not the only voice in galactic affairs. The HFY are powerful, and they have already petitioned the Galactic Council for stewardship over your world." The implications were staggering. Humanity, having just taken its first steps into a larger universe, was already caught in a political struggle beyond its comprehension. Over the next weeks, as news of the alien contact spread across Earth, tensions rose. Some saw the Arxer as saviors, others as potential conquerors. Governments scrambled to unite under a common banner, forming the United Earth Coalition. Dr. Chen worked tirelessly, learning the intricacies of galactic politics and trying to secure allies for humanity. But for every diplomatic breakthrough, there seemed to be a setback. The HFY, it turned out, were not content to wait for the Galactic Council's decision. Their ships began appearing at the edge of the solar system, probing Earth's defenses. Skirmishes broke out in the asteroid belt as human mining operations found themselves face-to-face with HFY survey teams. Captain Reeves, now Admiral Reeves, oversaw the rapid militarization of Earth's fledgling space fleet. "We're outgunned and outmatched," he told the United Earth Security Council. "But we'll be damned if we roll over without a fight." As diplomatic efforts strained under the weight of cultural misunderstandings and conflicting agendas, humanity found itself walking a tightrope. The Arxer counseled patience and negotiation, but their own political maneuverings painted a complex picture. Were they truly allies, or did they have their own designs for Earth? The situation came to a head when a HFY scout ship breached Earth's defensive perimeter, appearing suddenly over the skies of New York. Panic gripped the city as the alien vessel hovered ominously, its intentions unknown. In a moment that would be replayed countless times in the years to come, a squadron of hastily retrofitted fighter jets engaged the intruder. The battle was brief but fierce, ending with the HFY ship crashing into the Atlantic Ocean. Earth had won its first interstellar skirmish, but at a terrible cost. The HFY declared the incident an act of war, and the Galactic Council, swayed by their influence, imposed sanctions on Earth. As news of the impending conflict spread, Dr. Chen found herself addressing the United Nations. "We stand at a crossroads," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "The path ahead is fraught with danger, but it is also filled with possibility. Humanity has always risen to its greatest heights when faced with adversity. Now we must rise higher than ever before." The chamber erupted in applause, a moment of unity in the face of an uncertain future. But as the delegates filed out, the gravity of the situation settled over them like a shroud. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community had become a headlong plunge into interstellar war. The stars that had once beckoned with promise now loomed with menace. Yet in labs, factories, and military bases around the world, a spark of defiance ignited. Humanity would not go quietly into the cosmic night. They would show the galaxy what it meant to be human. As the first reports of HFY fleet movements reached Earth, Admiral Reeves gazed out at the stars from the bridge of the newly christened UES Defiant. "Well, ladies and gentlemen," he said to his crew, a grim smile on his face, "it looks like we got one hell of a fight ahead of us. Let's show these aliens what humanity is made of." The ship's engines flared to life, propelling them towards destiny. The war for Earth's future had begun. The spark of war. The UES Defiant glided silently through the inky blackness of space, its stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible to all but the most advanced sensors. Admiral Marcus Reeves stood on the bridge, his weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. "Status report," he barked, eyes fixed on the swirling mass of HFY ships gathering at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. "Lieutenant Commander Zara Okoye," his tactical officer, responded crisply. "The HFY fleet continues to amass, sir. We're counting over 200 vessels now, ranging from frigates to what appear to be capital ships. They're maintaining a holding pattern, but our long-range scans indicate they're prepping for a jump." Reeves nodded grimly. The past month had been a flurry of activity as Earth scrambled to prepare for the impending conflict. The United Earth Defense Force, hastily cobbled together from the world's military powers, was a far cry from the polished war machine they needed to be. But it was all they had. "And our backup?" Reeves asked, though he already knew the answer. Okoye's voice was tinged with frustration. "Still no word from the Arxer, sir. Their embassy on Earth claims they're working through diplomatic channels to de-escalate the situation." Reeves snorted. The Arxer's neutrality in the face of the HFY aggression was becoming increasingly suspicious. Were they truly allies, or just observers waiting to pick up the pieces? Before he could dwell on it further, alarms blared across the bridge. Okoye's fingers flew across her console. Multiple jump signatures detected. "The HFY fleet is on the move." Reeves straightened, his voice steady as he issued commands. "Alert Earth Command. All hands to battle stations. It's time to see what this ship can do." As the Defiant and its small escort of frigates moved to intercept, The first wave of Jetva ships materialized in a brilliant flash of light. Their organic-looking hulls seemed to writhe and pulse, defying human understanding of shipbuilding. The battle was joined in a fury of energy weapons and missile salvos. The Defiant danced through the chaos, its advanced maneuverability systems allowing it to dodge incoming fire with almost prescient accuracy. But for every Jetva ship they managed to disable or destroy, 3 more seemed to take its place. Back on Earth, Dr. Ilara Chen watched the unfolding conflict with a mixture of horror and determination. The United Earth Security Council had convened an emergency session, and the atmosphere was tense. "We need to activate the Lazarus Protocol," General Yin of the Chinese contingent insisted. "It's our only chance against their superior numbers." Dr. Chen shook her head vehemently. "The Lazarus Protocol is untested. We have no idea what the long-term consequences could be. We need more time." Her words were cut short as the chamber shook violently. Outside, the sky lit up with the telltale flashes of orbital bombardment. The Jetva had broken through Earth's defensive line. In that moment of crisis, humanity's path was set. The Security Council voted unanimously to activate the Lazarus Protocol, a last-ditch effort born of desperation and human ingenuity. Across the globe, hidden installations hummed to life. Deep in the Marianas Trench, in the heart of the Sahara, beneath the ice of Antarctica, and in a dozen other locations, massive generators began to spin up. They tapped into the very fabric of space-time, harnessing energies that humanity had only begun to understand. In orbit, Admiral Reeves watched in awe as a shimmering barrier began to coalesce around the Earth. The Jetva weapons fire splashed harmlessly against it, their ships recoiling in confusion. "By God," Reeves breathed. "They actually did it." The Lazarus Protocol, named after the biblical figure raised from the dead, was humanity's ultimate defensive measure. It created a temporal stasis field around the planet, effectively removing Earth from the normal flow of time. To the outside universe, Earth would appear frozen, unreachable. As the field stabilized, Dr. Chen addressed the Security Council once more. "We've bought ourselves time, but at a great cost. We're now cut off from the rest of the solar system, from our colonies on Mars and the Moon. And we have no idea how long we can maintain this field." The gravity of the situation settled over the room. Earth was safe for now, but they were also trapped. And beyond the shimmering barrier, the war raged on. In the following weeks, as Earth adjusted to its new reality, the remnants of the human fleet regrouped. Admiral Reeves, commanding from the Defiant, became the de facto leader of humanity's extraterrestrial forces. "We may be cut off from Earth," he told his assembled captains, "but we're not out of this fight. The Jetva think they've won, that they can wait us out. We're going to show them just how wrong they are." Operation Phantom Strike was born from this defiance. Using guerrilla tactics and the advanced stealth technology of the Defiant, human forces began to hit Jetva supply lines and isolated outposts. They couldn't win in a straight fight, but they could bleed the enemy, little by little. Meanwhile, on the time-locked Earth, a renaissance of scientific and technological development began. Without the immediate threat of annihilation, humanity poured its resources into advancement. Dr. Chen led a team of scientists working to understand and improve the Lazarus Protocol, hoping to find a way to selectively lower the field or even weaponize its time-altering properties. Months passed in the outside universe, while years flew by on Earth. The Jetva, frustrated by their inability to crack the planetary defense, turned their attention to wiping out the human resistance in space. But Admiral Reeves and his forces proved maddeningly elusive. In a bold move, Reeves led a raid on a Jetva research facility, capturing vital intelligence. The data revealed a startling truth. The Jetva were not the monolithic force they appeared to be. Internal factions were vying for power, and some were growing weary of the costly war against humanity. This information sparked a daring plan. If they could exacerbate these internal conflicts, humanity might have a chance to turn the tide of the war. As Reeves and his fleet prepared for their most audacious operation yet, a message arrived from an unexpected source. The Arxer, silent for so long, were finally ready to intervene. On Earth, now 5 years out of sync with the rest of the universe, Dr. Chen made a breakthrough. They had found a way to send a message through the temporal barrier, a lifeline to their forces fighting beyond. As the Security Council debated the contents of this crucial communication, alarms blared. The Lazarus Protocol was beginning to fail. Earth's time in stasis was coming to an end. As the shimmering barrier flickered and faded, humanity held its collective breath. Would they emerge to find a galaxy at peace, or a war still raging? Admiral Reeves, aboard the battle-scarred Defiant, watched as the blue marble of Earth became visible once more. "Well, folks," he said to his crew, a mix of anticipation and dread in his voice, "let's hope we've given them enough time." The next phase of the war was about to begin, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. Human ingenuity under fire. The temporal barrier around Earth dissipated like morning mist, revealing a planet transformed. 5 years had passed for its inhabitants, but for the rest of the universe, it had been mere months. As the veil lifted, humanity's surviving space forces, led by Admiral Reeves aboard the UES Defiant, approached their homeworld with a mixture of hope and trepidation. "My God," breathed Lieutenant Commander Okoye, as the sensors picked up the changes. "What have they been up to down there?" The Earth that greeted them was bristling with defensive installations that hadn't existed before. Massive orbital platforms hung in geosynchronous orbit, their purpose unclear but their presence imposing. The lunar surface, visible even from this distance, showed signs of extensive mining and construction. Before Reeves could respond, a transmission cut through the comm channels. "UES Defiant, this is Earth Defense Command. Welcome home, Admiral. A lot has changed. Prepare for briefing and integration protocols." Hours later, Reeves found himself in a state-of-the-art war room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Dr. Ilara Chen, looking older and more weathered than when he'd last seen her, stood before a holographic display of the galaxy. "Admiral, it's good to see you alive," she said, a tired smile crossing her face. "We've been busy while you were gone." Reeves nodded, still trying to process the changes. "I can see that, Doctor. Catch me up." Dr. Chen waved her hand, and a holographic display zoomed in on Earth's solar system. "The Lazarus Protocol bought us time, and we used every second of it. We've made leaps in quantum computing, materials science, and energy manipulation that would have taken decades under normal circumstances." She pointed to one of the orbital platforms. "These are Cronus stations. They can generate localized temporal fields, similar to what protected Earth, but on a much smaller scale. We can slow down time for our ships, giving them a significant advantage in maneuverability and reaction time." Reeves whistled low. "That's incredible. But surely the power requirements must be enormous." "They are," Chen confirmed, "which is why we've also been busy in other areas." The display shifted to show the inner planets. "We've established antimatter production facilities on Mercury, taking advantage of its proximity to the Sun. Venus has been transformed into a massive energy collection hub, using its harsh atmosphere to our advantage." As Chen continued her briefing, detailing advancements in eye-assisted tactics, nanomaterial ship hulls, and weaponized dark matter, Reeves felt a growing sense of amazement. Humanity had taken its back-against-the-wall moment and turned it into a crucible of innovation. "This is all incredible, Doctor," Reeves said as the briefing concluded. "But will it be enough? The HFY still outnumber us significantly." Chen's expression turned grim. "That's where you come in, Admiral. Your guerrilla tactics kept us in the fight. Now, with these new technologies, we need you to lead the charge." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity as Earth's defenders integrated their new technologies with the battle-hardened tactics of Reeves' fleet. The Defiant and other surviving ships were retrofitted with Cronus generators, their hulls reinforced with adaptive nanomaterials. But the Jetva weren't idle. As if sensing the shift in the conflict's dynamics, they launched a massive offensive aimed at Earth's outer colonies. The battle for Titan, Saturn's largest moon and humanity's furthest permanent settlement, would become the testing ground for Earth's new capabilities. The UES Defiant led a task force to defend Titan, arriving just as the Jetva fleet began their assault. What followed was a battle that would be studied in war colleges for generations to come. Reeds watched from the Defiance Bridge as Earth ships, cloaked in shimmering temporal fields, danced between Jetva energy beams that seemed to move in slow motion. Cronus-enhanced fighters darted in and out of formation, their pilots reacting with inhuman speed to the shifting tides of battle. But the Jetva were formidable opponents. Their organic ships adapted quickly, developing countermeasures to the temporal fields. For every Jetva ship disabled or destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. As the battle raged, Dr. Chen's voice came through on a secure channel. "Admiral, we're deploying the Nexus." Reeves had been briefed on the Nexus, an experimental eye-driven battle coordination system, but he hadn't expected to see it in action so soon. Suddenly, the tactics of the Earth fleet shifted, becoming more fluid, more unpredictable. Ships moved in perfect synchronization, covering each other's blind spots and maximizing the effectiveness of every shot. The tide of battle began to turn. Jetva ships, unable to predict or counter the AI-driven strategies, found themselves outmaneuvered and overwhelmed. After hours of intense fighting, the alien fleet retreated, leaving the skies of Titan in human hands. As the dust settled, Reeves allowed himself a moment of cautious optimism. They had won a significant victory, but the war was far from over. The Jetva would regroup, adapt, and return in even greater numbers. Back on Earth, the victory at Titan was celebrated, but the mood remained tense. Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly to refine their technologies, knowing that every advance could mean the difference between survival and extinction. In the weeks that followed, a pattern emerged. Humanity, leveraging its new technologies and innovative tactics, began to push back against the Jetva. Colonies were reclaimed, supply lines re-established. But each victory came at a cost, and the Jetva's numerical superiority remained a constant threat. Then came the Battle of Alpha Centauri, Earth's first extraterrestrial colony, a fledgling outpost on a habitable moon, found itself in the crosshairs of a massive Jetva assault. The stakes were clear. If Alpha Centauri fell, it would open a clear path for the aliens to bypass Earth's defenses and strike at the heart of human space. Admiral Reeves led the defense personally, knowing that this battle could be the turning point of the war. The Defiant and its task force arrived to find a scene of chaos. The colonial defenses were overwhelmed, and Jetva ships swarmed the system. As the battle unfolded, Reeves watched in awe as a new weapon was unveiled. Beams of concentrated dark matter lanced out from Earth ships, tearing through Jetva hulls like paper. But the aliens countered with weapons of their own bioengineered missiles that could think and adapt mid-flight. The space around Alpha Centauri became a maelstrom of advanced technology and desperate courage. Cronus fields warped time itself. Dark matter weapons punched holes in reality. And at the center of it all, human ingenuity and determination faced off against alien might and ruthlessness. Hours turned into days as reinforcements arrived from both sides. The battle sprawled across the entire star system, with smaller engagements fought around every planet and major asteroid. Through it all, the Nexus I coordinated the human forces with inhuman precision, turning what should have been a hopeless last stand into a fighting chance. As the conflict reached its crescendo, Reeves found the Defiant in a one-on-one duel with the Jetva flagship. Both ships were battered, their advanced systems failing after days of continuous combat. It came down to raw skill and the will to survive. In a move that would be immortalized in countless retellings, Reeves ordered the Defiant to dive straight at the enemy ship. At the last possible moment, they activated their Cronus generator, slowing time to a crawl around them. To outside observers, the Defiant seemed to blink out of existence, only to reappear inside the HFY ship's shields. A point-blank barrage of dark matter weaponry tore the alien vessel apart. As the HFY flagship disintegrated, a shockwave of disbelief seemed to ripple through the remaining alien forces. For the first time since the war began, the HFY retreated not just from a battle, but from an entire star system. The Battle of Alpha Centauri was over. Humanity had held the line, and in doing so, had announced to the galaxy that they were a force to be reckoned with. As the Defiant limped back to Earth for repairs, Admiral Reeves stood on the bridge, watching the blue-green marble of humanity's homeworld grow larger in the viewscreen. They had won a great victory, but the war was far from over. The HFY would return, possibly with new tricks of their own. But for now, humanity had earned a moment to catch its breath, to mourn its losses, and to prepare for the battles yet to come. They had proven that human ingenuity, when pushed to its limits, could stand against even the most advanced alien civilizations. As Reeves prepared his report for Earth's leadership, he couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. They had a long way to go, but for the first time since the war began, the path to victory seemed possible. The spark of human defiance, kindled in the darkest hour of their history, was now a roaring flame that would light their way to the stars. The turning point. The aftermath of the Battle of Alpha Centauri rippled across the galaxy. Humanity's victory over the HFY, long thought invincible, sent shockwaves through the complex web of galactic politics. In the halls of the Galactic Council, whispers of human resilience and ingenuity began to circulate. Admiral Marcus Reeves stood before the United Earth Security Council, his weathered face a map of the battles he'd fought. "The HFY are regrouping," he reported, his voice grave. "Our victory at Alpha Centauri was significant, but it's only bought us time. We need to press our advantage while we have it." Dr. Ilara Chen, now serving as Earth's Minister of Science and Defense, nodded in agreement. "Our latest intel suggests that the HFY are facing internal strife. Some factions are questioning the wisdom of continuing this war. If we can exploit these divisions, we might be able to end this conflict without further bloodshed." The council chamber buzzed with discussion. The idea of taking the fight to the HFY home systems was both exhilarating and terrifying. Humanity had been on the defensive for so long. The prospect of going on the offensive was a paradigm shift. As the debate raged, a priority message flashed across the chamber's main screen. The Arxer, silent for so long, were requesting an emergency meeting. Hours later, in a secure facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Reeves and Chen found themselves face to face with the crystalline form of Arxer Ambassador Zixlith. The alien's internal lights pulsed with an urgency they had never seen before. "Humans," Zixlith's thoughts resonated in their minds. "The balance of power in our galaxy stands at a precipice. Your victory at Alpha Centauri has done more than bloody the HFY's nose. It has shattered a myth of invincibility that has stood for millennia." The ambassador's form shimmered, projecting a holographic map of the galaxy. "The HFY consortium is not as united as they would have you believe. Your resistance has inspired others. Worlds long subjugated are beginning to rebel. But the HFY will not go quietly. They are preparing a weapon, a last resort that could devastate not just Earth, but countless inhabited worlds." Reeves leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "What kind of weapon?" Zixlith's lights dimmed. "A gravitic bomb, capable of collapsing an entire star system into a black hole. They plan to make an example of Earth, to crush any hope of resistance." The revelation hit like a physical blow. Chen's mind raced with the implications. Why tell us this now? Why didn't the Arxer intervene earlier? "Galactic politics are complex," Zixlith responded, a note of what might have been shame coloring the thought. "We were bound by ancient treaties and the fear of escalating the conflict. But now, the HFY's actions threaten the stability of the entire galaxy. We can no longer stand idle." Reeves's voice was steel. "What are you proposing?" "An alliance." Zixlith's form pulsed brightly. The Arxer will provide you with technology to counter the gravitic bomb. In return, we ask that humanity lead a coalition force against the Jetva. Your unpredictability, your adaptability. These are assets that the galaxy desperately needs. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity, as Arxer technicians worked with human scientists to integrate their advanced gravitic technology. A plan began to take shape. Operation Lightbringer, they called it. A bold, multi-pronged assault on the heart of Jetva space. The UEA's Defiant, now equipped with a prototype gravitic shield, would lead a diversionary attack on a key Jetva shipyard. Meanwhile, a joint human Arxer strike team would infiltrate the facility where the gravitic bomb was being developed. As the final preparations were made, Reeves addressed the combined fleet, ships from a dozen alien races that had answered humanity's call to arms hung in formation around the Defiant. It was a sight that would have been unimaginable just months ago. "We stand at a turning point," Reeves's voice rang out across the comm channels. "Not just for humanity, but for every species that values freedom and self-determination. The road ahead will be hard, but together, we will forge a new future for our galaxy." The battle that followed would be etched into the annals of galactic history. The diversionary attack, led by the Defiant, struck with a fury that caught the Jetva completely off guard. Reeves's tactics, honed through months of guerrilla warfare and enhanced by Arxer technology, tore through the enemy's defenses. But it was on the ground that the true test came. Dr. Chen, insisting on leading the strike team personally, found herself in the heart of the Jetva weapons facility. The team fought their way through biomechanical horrors and automated defense systems, racing against time to reach the gravitic bomb. As Chen worked to disarm the weapon, a Jetva war leader emerged from the shadows. The alien was massive, its body a grotesque fusion of organic matter and advanced machinery. "You fight well, for primitives," it gurgled through a translator. "But you cannot stop the inevitable. The galaxy will be remade in our image." What followed was a battle of both brawn and brains. As Arxer commandos engaged the war leader in physical combat, Shen found herself in a virtual duel, her mind linked directly to the bomb's control systems. It was a race against time, her human intuition pitted against the cold logic of Jetva algorithms. In orbit, the Defiant was taking a pounding. The Jetva, realizing the true nature of the attack, had committed their reserves to the battle. Reeves watched as ship after ship in his fleet winked out of existence. "We can't hold them much longer, sir," Okoye reported, her voice strained. Reeves gripped his command chair. "We hold as long as we have to. Earth is counting on us. The galaxy is counting on us." Just as all seemed lost, as the Defiant's shields buckled under the onslaught, a blinding light erupted from the planet below. For a moment, everyone, human, Arxer, and Jetva alike, held their breath. Then Chen's voice crackled over the comm. "Gravitic bomb neutralized. I repeat, gravitic bomb neutralized. And sir, you're going to want to see this." As the dust settled, it became clear that humanity had not just averted disaster. They had changed the course of galactic history. The neutralization of the bomb had triggered a chain reaction, destabilizing the Jetva's entire power structure. Worlds long held under their control began to rise up, emboldened by the example set by Earth. In the aftermath, as the combined fleet limped home, the full scale of their victory began to sink in. The Jetva consortium, once the undisputed power in the galaxy, was crumbling. But the power vacuum left in its wake promised new challenges, new responsibilities for humanity. As the Earth came into view, Reeves and Chen stood side by side on the Defiant's observation deck. "We did it," Chen said softly, her voice filled with wonder and exhaustion. Reeves nodded, his eyes fixed on the blue marble that had driven them to such heights of courage and innovation. "We did, but something tells me our journey is just beginning." The Admiral's words would prove prophetic. Humanity, in the span of a few short years, had gone from an isolated species on the brink of annihilation to a major player on the galactic stage. The war was ending, but the real work of building a lasting peace was just beginning. As news of the victory spread across Earth and its colonies, a new sense of purpose filled the hearts of humans everywhere. They had faced the ultimate test and emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. The stars, once a distant dream, now beckoned with infinite possibilities. The dawn of a new era was breaking, and humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. Resolution and aftermath. The galactic landscape had been irreversibly altered. In the wake of the HFY Consortium's fall, a new order was emerging, one in which humanity played a pivotal role. The UEA's defiant, battle-scarred but unbowed, led a flotilla of ships back to Earth, carrying with them the weight of victory and the promise of a new future. As they approached the Sol system, Admiral Marcus Reeves stood on the bridge, his weathered face illuminated by the light of distant stars. Beside him, Dr. Ilara Chen watched the holographic display, showing the unprecedented gathering of alien vessels accompanying them. Allies, former enemies, and neutral observers, all drawn by humanity's improbable triumph. "I never thought I'd see the day," Reeves murmured, his voice a mix of awe and weariness. Chen nodded, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "We've opened a door, Marcus. Now we have to figure out what lies beyond it." The fleet's arrival at Earth sparked celebrations across the planet and its colonies. Humanity, which had stood on the brink of extinction, was now being hailed as the architects of a new galactic peace. But amidst the jubilation, the leaders of Earth knew that the hardest part was yet to come. In the weeks that followed, Earth became the focal point of intense diplomatic activity. The Grand Galactic Conference, as it came to be known, brought together representatives from hundreds of spacefaring civilizations. Its purpose: to forge a new framework for interstellar relations in the post-HFY era. The United Nations headquarters in New York hastily expanded to accommodate the diverse needs of alien delegates, buzzed with activity. Translators worked overtime, grappling with languages that defied human comprehension. Environmental engineers struggled to create habitable spaces for species that breathed methane or thrived in crushing pressures. At the center of it all stood Reeves and Chen, thrust into the roles of humanity's primary representatives. Their experiences during the war had made them symbols of human resilience and ingenuity, respected even by former adversaries. As the conference progressed, it became clear that the galaxy was looking to humanity not just as victors, but as potential leaders. The adaptability and innovative spirit that had allowed humans to overcome the HFY were now seen as vital traits for navigating the complex challenges of a multi-species galaxy. But with this recognition came responsibility and danger. Not all species were thrilled with humanity's newfound prominence. The Arxer, while allies, watched the proceedings with calculating eyes, their own agenda never far from the surface. Fragments of the HFY power structure, still clinging to their old ways, plotted from the shadows. One evening, as the conference entered its third week, Reeves found Chen on a balcony overlooking the sprawling alien encampments that had sprung up around the UN building. "Quite a view," he said, joining her at the railing. Chen nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I've been thinking about the Lazarus Protocol, how we use time itself as a weapon. We're at another threshold now, Marcus. The decisions we make here will ripple across centuries." Reeves understood her concern. The technology humanity had developed during the war was both a gift and a burden. Their advances in temporal manipulation, dark matter weaponry, and AI integration could reshape the galaxy, for better or worse. "We can't put the genie back in the bottle," he said softly, "but we can try to guide its power." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent summons. In the main conference chamber, a crisis was unfolding. A coalition of species, fearful of humanity's potential power, was calling for strict controls on Earth's military capabilities and technological development. As accusations and demands flew across the chamber, Reeves stepped forward, his voice cutting through the cacophony. "We didn't fight this war to become conquerors," he declared. Humanity extended its hand to the stars in peace, and even after being thrust into conflict, we stand here today not seeking dominion, but partnership. His words, broadcast across the galaxy, began to turn the tide. Over the next days, a new vision began to take shape, a galactic cooperative, with Earth as a key founding member, but not its sole leader. The principles of mutual defense, scientific exchange, and cultural preservation would form the bedrock of this new interstellar community. The signing of the Galactic Charter marked the official end of humanity's First Interstellar War and the beginning of a new epoch. As representatives from 1,000 worlds affixed their signatures or equivalent marks to the document, the weight of the moment was palpable. In the years that followed, humanity found itself navigating a vastly expanded universe. Earth became a hub of interstellar commerce and diplomacy. The technologies developed during the war were gradually shared, under careful protocols, accelerating scientific advancement across multiple civilizations. The UES, Defiant, retrofitted and upgraded, embarked on a new mission, leading expeditions to unexplored regions of the galaxy, seeking out new life and new civilizations. Admiral Reeves, though offered numerous prestigious positions, chose to remain at its helm, his adventurous spirit undiminished. Dr. Chen, for her part, became Earth's first galactic ambassador, her keen mind and diplomatic skills vital in navigating the complex currents of interstellar politics. She worked tirelessly to ensure that humanity's voice was heard, while also learning from the ancient wisdom of older races. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The remnants of the HFY, though diminished, remained a threat, launching sporadic attacks from hidden bases in the galactic fringe. Other challenges arose: diplomatic crises, first contact situations that teetered on the brink of conflict, and the ongoing struggle to balance progress with responsibility. Through it all, the spirit that had allowed humanity to triumph against the HFY continued to serve them. Human adaptability, creativity, and determination, combined with a newfound wisdom born of their trials, became a beacon of hope in a vast and often dangerous galaxy. Decades after the war's end, on the centennial of Earth's first contact with alien life, Reeves and Chen stood together once again, this time on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive structure orbiting Jupiter that served as neutral ground for galactic diplomacy. Below them, the great red spot of Jupiter swirled, while all around, ships of myriad designs representing hundreds of species went about their business. It was a far cry from the isolation Earth had known a century before. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" Chen asked, her hair now silver, but her eyes as sharp as ever. Reeves chuckled, shaking his head. "Not in a million years. We went from being almost wiped out to this." He gestured at the galactic diversity surrounding them. Chen nodded, her expression thoughtful. "We've come so far, but the journey's far from over. There's still so much to explore, so much to learn." As if in response to her words, a priority alert chimed. A probe from the Defiant, now commanded by Reeves' protege, had discovered something extraordinary at the galaxy's edge. Signs of artificial structures of immense scale and unimaginable age. Reeves and Chen shared a look, the old spark of adventure igniting in their eyes. Humanity's trial by fire had forged them into a species ready to face the profound mysteries of the cosmos. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them not just as survivors, but as explorers, diplomats, and guardians of a fragile galactic peace. As they moved to answer the call of discovery, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, beckoning humanity towards its next great adventure.